All right, here we go. We have one of the legendary singers from Sista here today, Lashawn Shellman. How are you doing today?
Hello, everybody.
You're
How is
doing very
everybody
well
out
today?
there?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing great. How are you, sweetheart?
Thank you for coming by to the Lens of Yashu show. And it's an honor, because it's a very well-rounded history from your experience in the group as well as like working with a lot of heavy hitters like Devontae Swing, Timbaland, Missy Elliott, Craig Mack, a lot of names, which is very interesting.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of good, very talented musicians, musical people who were touched by the music fairy. Actually, it's like a talent. Like back in the '90s, you had talent. You had to be able to sing to get a record deal. Nowadays, the early music is just like, you got a heavy beat, hi hat, and a bass line, and you can shake your ass to it, and you're good. No talent.
Yeah, no doubt. I know what you mean. So I'm just gonna start off with the first question. Actually, I'm just gonna pull it up just in case.
Okay,
All right. So you grew up in Williamsburg, Virginia, right?
correct.
And which area did you grow up by in Williamsburg? Like during your time growing up?
Right. Actually, I resided in the city of Williamsburg. My people were born and raised there. We were slaves, actually, and master, I guess, or a mister. He left my people some land, the Jamesons. My great grandmother was Blackfoot Indian, and they owned the like half of the Williamsburg city limits. So I grew up in Grove, where my father built houses. He's a carpenter. My mother was a singer. She was a gospel singer. She was an R&B singer in school. Where my dad met her singing on stage. My mother was a performer, so she was an inspiration. But my mom was singing with Bruce Hornsby. I don't know if you heard of Bruce Hornsby. You know who Bruce Hornsby?
I
That's
don't
just
think.
the Yes, you do. That's just the way it is. Things will
Yeah, yeah.
never
Now I know.
change.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Bruce Hornsby. He was from Williamsburg. So I felt like if he could make it out, a regular Joe like me from Williamsburg, I can do it. So I grew up in Grove, Moretown, and Ironbound. Ironbound was called Jamestown Land, Jamestown Town, and that's where my people are from.
Yeah. And I guess growing up in the area, like, would you say that the area that you grew up in, Williamsburg, was like a very decent area to live in? And would you say that you had like a very like decent childhood growing up, or would it be like quite different?
Yeah, Williamsburg was always the commonwealth. We had our own, rules, and we were like a separated. It was the commonwealth, so it's like it was not a lot of mischief. You went to school, you went to church. There's a lot of churches around here. Everybody has their own religion, and I grew up in the church. I was actually the ministress of song at the age of 7. I traveled different churches and sang before the preacher preached and after he preached. And I've actually brought in hundreds of souls, by my voice. So I was called a ministress of song, and they said I was touched by God. So I just thought I could, everybody could sing. I thought I was just a regular Joe like everybody else. But, obviously I had a gift and everybody saw it. So, but in Williamsburg, my inspiration actually was my mother. My mother was a R&B singer with Bruce Hornsby in school. They did talent shows and they performed, around the 7 cities. The 7 cities is Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Newport News, Hampton, Williamsburg, what I'm saying, Richmond. So it's like the 7 cities. So my mother used to perform on stage in auditoriums, and gospel was her thing after she met my father and had me. Her dreams was crashed because she got pregnant with me and married my father, so she couldn't go to New York and become a singer. So ironically, when I was born, which I was supposed to have been a boy, Lashawn Ramon, but anyway, my mother noticed that I had a talent ever since I was born. So my inspirations came from my environment in my home. My mother always was at practice. We were in the church, so I was Seventh Day Adventist. We went to church on Saturdays, and I went to church 5 days out of the 7 week calendar. I was a church girl. I was naive, but I was street smart. I played ball. I was a tomboy. So I was a solo artist ever since I was 7. I used to go and perform with 20-something-year-old, men from the church, and I brought souls in the church. My reward back then was, amen. Good job, Sister Shellman. My name is Lashawn Shellman. So, that made me feel good. It wasn't payment, it was money. I did it because I love to do it. And, I just found out on the whim that had a gift when I got pregnant at the age of 15. And in the church, they don't go for that. It's a shame, but a lot of our youth, and that's why I'm going to become an inspirational speaker when everything hits, on my side, because I'm writing my book and all that stuff. But anyway, the youth, we're very young and we're naive, and we believe people. We have a purity in thinking that everybody is for our good, and they're not. The devil comes in many forms, and I'm from the church, so I see things, differently than people. I have OCD. You know what I'm saying? I'm a musician. I'm a songwriter, a painter, a poet. I do a lot of things, and God, put these gifts in me because I was a mix. Back in those 90s days, Josh, white and black couples interracial couldn't mix. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't identify with the black or the Caucasian side, but I was 4 to 5 different nationalities: Cherokee, Indian, white, black, German, and Spanish. So the white girls called me, the N word, and the black girls called me Light Bright. My nickname in school was Light Bright, and then Pocahontas, because I had pretty long hair and they used to cut my shit in school, and I used to be like, I'm ugly. Everybody keep picking on me, but I had an aura, a gift, and all those people saw that when you're a kid, you're pure. And the inspiration, like in Williamsburg, music is the inspiration. When I was in school, Lafayette, James Blair, Bruton Heights, Matthew Whaley, I was in choir, and I won the regionals, the championship. I got first place, always first place. Always did solos, gospel choir, talent shows, spring flings, singing Valentine's. I win all of those things. So I was a solo artist before I met Sista. I lived with two sisters. I had an older sister and a younger sister, and we always traveled with my mother while she performed. And I was like, one day I got the Holy Spirit at 9, and I said, "Oh my gosh!" My mother was singing, and then Tutu and Truthette was on stage, and I ran up on stage at 9 because the Holy Spirit. I was like warm. It was like, oh my gosh, you're like, this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I love this. It's like I get warm every time I hear music. And I ran up on stage and I went behind stage, and I sung to Tutu, my favorite gospel group, the lead singer. Her song, "It's All Right." And she told me, she said, "You are touched by God. You are an angel. And one day you're going to be famous." And I didn't know what she meant. You know what I'm saying? So I lived my life. I went to school, and everything that I ever done in music, I won first place, or I won, $200 or 500. So I was a solo artist before I met Sista. You know what I'm saying? The story of how I met Sista and Timbaland is very crazy, but inspirational. My mother, Williamsburg, very, very quiet, and everybody go to church and go to school, and there's no lot of riffraff, but you sneak because you're in church, and you can't do a lot of things, so you sneak and you get caught. You understand what I'm saying? The pastor's daughter, the deacon's daughter. That's how it is in Williamsburg.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean, and that's like a very interesting story on the inspiration on just being from the city, just being inspired to become like a singer-songwriter, musician, all around a person of talent, of many creatives and many trades, and even just the backstory on your Native American culture. It's very like it's very interesting too. Like I never really I never really knew more about that, or even from the public, which is like very like interesting, which is very interesting to share in that sense. So
Right. It's just, I'm not. I love people. That's just me, and I see the beauty in everybody. God has placed upon my heart to just look at things as what it is. The secret of life is mind over matter. If you think you can, you will. If you think you can, you won't. You speak it into existence, reciprocity. And that's how I've always lived my life. So when I went through this situation with Sista, after not wanting to be in a group because I was a solo artist, I had my own dreams, and being thrown into a group when Timbaland saw me on stage at the Hampton Coliseum, ironically, a Mary J. Blige, Bobby Brown, TLC, and Shabba Ranks concert, my first concert ever. I snuck to this concert because I was in church. I got a punishment for going to this concert, but I got a record deal out of it. So it's crazy.
yeah, no doubt. Yeah, in the brand new music video, like I recently like saw it like a while back. It took place in New York City, correct,
Mm-hmm.
or was it in like a
Yeah.
different city?
It was in
So,
Brooklyn,
oh,
on
in
top of a
Brooklyn.
building.
True. So tell me more
On
about
top of
that
a
video shoot, and was that the only
building.
music video that the group had only done, or were there any like unreleased ones that were
Oh
set to be
no, there's
released?
lots of videos. People just didn't realize, but our video started at 5 a.m. in the morning. Limousine came to get us. You know, we were getting up, we were getting our stuff together. When we got there, we found out that Imani was our makeup artist. She had Mac products. You know, the Mac was just coming out, and her assistant did our makeup at 5 a.m. Our stylist was Sista, Puffy's baby's mother, Justin's mom. The blonde haired girl in the Biggie Smalls videos. Those are our friends. But you know, as you know, Puffy brought Jodeci out. Devontae is in Jodeci. That's how the connection goes. Mary J. Blige, you know, Jodeci, Craig Mack, 112, Puffy, you know, all those Faith, Biggie, everybody. And then we got Player, Sugar, Sister, Timbaland, Magoo, you know, Reebok. You know, we got it's just so many groups we had there, you know, Pete and Repeat, just different things. Devontae was the Barry Gordy of the 1990s, you know, and he had a vision, and Devontae was a genius, you know, very talented. Could play every instrument, just like Prince, my favorite artist. Ow, Revolution, Purple Rain. But anyway, yeah, Brand New was shot at the Brooklyn apartment complex. It was on top of the building, and you know those four little girls you see and Devontae get out the video and talk to them. He was actually going inside of that building, going up to the top to come and see us. Those are supposed to be us, the four little girls. Like he met us back in the day, and then he goes up on top of the building. Now we're adults and teenagers, and we're vibing together. And we're just singing. So it was Players Static. What is it? Static Major, Stevie, my baby. He died, but you know he was so talented. He came out of Player. Um, he did Lollipop with Little Wayne. That was my little brother. You know, we slept together. We traveled together. We sang all day together. We got in trouble together. We toured together. We rehearsed, recorded, didn't sleep. You know, it was like on the road. It was a good time, but it was tiresome. But when you love something, it doesn't matter. But anyway, the video was shot at 5 a.m. in the morning. Amani was our makeup artist. Nisa was our stylist. She gave us our outfits. We got on the top and we just sang. We had performed this little dance routine at Shanita Coleman is one of the girls' assistant. It was Missy Elliott, Shanita Coleman. Those two formed the group in Virginia. It was called Phase Z. I didn't know them at the time. It went through a lot of girls trying to, you know, become famous or whatever. And Missy and Shanita and Radia and another girl named I forgot her name. Shoot, I forgot her name. But anyway, they Tina something. But they went and met Jodeci a year before I met them because they went to a concert at the Hampton Coliseum in Virginia, Hampton, Virginia. Hampton, Virginia Coliseum is where all the concerts go down. Chris Brown coming to town, Virginia, is at the Hampton Coliseum. If Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, Mary J. Blige, anybody come into Virginia, you're performing at the Hampton or the Norfolk Spoke. So we lived around that area, and they met them, I think, in 90, and I met them in 92 or 91, the end of 91. So it was a crazy story. But anyway, I'll go there later. That's another question. But the video shoot, we had fun. We had our makeup done. You know what I'm saying? We looked totally different when we looked in the mirror. We was ready. We was hyped. We was scared. We had butterflies. We were excited. It was our first video. So we did it. We performed. It was so crazy because they kept stopping the music. We were like, okay, cut. Do it again. It was like, but we did it perfect. So our makeup was running. It was hot. So we would just have fun with it. It was it was, oh my gosh, who was in the video? It was Static. Oh my goodness, I'm set myself. I can't remember the name. Genuine, Devontae, us, and somebody else. I forgot his name, but Brooks. But anyway, it lasted all day. We were so tired when we finished, but we had fun, and that started off our release of our Getting Off the Shelf. When I met Sista, they were on the shelf. I was a solo artist. I actually wanted to join Sugar. Sugar was Devontae's other girl group who sang like, I felt like they sang like angels, like the harmonies that Tweet, Susan, and Rolita did. Oh my God, them girls sang. Have you ever heard them sing, Sugar?
I don't think I have, but I'd have to like definitely check that
Did
out.
you know that? Did you know that Devontae had two girl groups?
I did not know that actually.
Bassment Cru consisted of Genuine, Sista. Sista came out first. Genuine came out second. Player, Sugar, which was Tweet. You know Tweet, who came out the solo album, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Tweet, Susan Weems, and Rolita White. That was Sugar. They were supposed to come out before us, but somehow our album, when I met them, came out first. But I actually asked Devontae could I sing with them, but he said no, you fit Sister. So when I went up to New York after Timbaland discovered me at the Hampton Coliseum, and ironically at a Mary J. Blige concert with TLC, Bobby Brown, and Shabba Ranks, I sang on stage. I snuck to that concert and I sung on stage. I was late. They were running late, and when I walked in, I promise you, when I walked in those doors, KJ Holiday, the MC from 103 Jams, the hottest radio station down in Virginia, he was the MC of the show. So he said, "Okay, I had 7 girls come up here and sing. They did a good job, but I got time for one more girl who can rock the house. I know somebody out there that can tear the stage down." And I promise you, as he was saying that, I was walking through the Hampton Coliseum doors. So ironically, the girls from and everybody from my school was in the middle of the crowd. So I promise it was like the Red Sea in the Bible just opened up, and I was walking through. Like it was like pointing at me and pushing me up on stage, like she can sing, because they knew I was the girl who was known for singing. Who you didn't know my name, but you're like, oh, the light skinned girl that can sing. You know what I'm saying? Who won the talent show? Who got the first place at the regionals, district choir? You know what I'm saying? She's sung in gospel choir. I made the teacher in Lafayette get the Holy Spirit by singing in the gospel choir right on King Jesus. So anyway, to go back to my story, Timbaland is in the audience. I don't know he's at there. I don't know who that he's with. Mary J. Blige and Jodeci. I don't even know Jodeci got a girl group. I'm a solo artist who just been performing, doing my thing. Had a dream that I'm gonna be a solo, artist one day in the music business. So I get on stage. Mary J. Blige is running late. So that when he said what he said, they pushed me up on stage. Like they actually pushed me up on stage, and I got up on stage, and I'm not scared to sing. So he was like, "All right, here's the microphone. Sing me something. Do your thing. What you gonna sing tonight?" So I said, "Reminisce" by Mary J. Blige, and I started singing. He was like, "No, no, 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 no. You can't sing nobody's song on the bill tonight." So I said, "Okay, what song have I performed in school and stuff that I can do real shortly?" Because in the music business, you can't take a long time to, crescendo. You got to come out with a bang. You know what I'm saying? You got to get something to catch the crowd. So back in the day, I don't know if you know, but in the 90s, it was a side A and a side B. Do you remember that?
I think so. Like, yeah, like they would have like certain groups, depending on like vocal
Like, when you came
ranges
out
and
and you
like
had an
styles.
album, right? No, like when you came out, you had we had cassette tapes. It was side A and side B. It was the original song, and then you had a remix on side B.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this is like the singles, like this is how they show you the first single, second, third single off your album, because instead of buying the album, you might just want to buy the single. So, anyway, on side B was Shirley Pepsi Riley's remix to Thanks for My Child, and I had performed that. So I started singing, so I took the mic and I started singing. I said, I'm not going to sing because I'm hoarse right now, but I said, after all that I've been through, I don't regret a thing. Yeah, I wish you were with me, boy, but I know sometimes things change. And everybody stood up. I got a standing ovation. And by the time I finished singing that one little verse, I had an encore, encore, encore. And Mary J. Blige, I learned later that she had stuck her head out the curtain like saying, who the hell was that singing? So Timbaland was in the audience and he heard me. He was backstage, the backstage. And KJ Holiday, when I gave him the microphone, he said, don't leave. Go backstage. You're going to get a record deal tonight. So I walked off stage. Now I was going off or whatever, like I was a celebrity. And I saw a lot of celebrities. I didn't say anything. I exited off the side. I met 9 different producers, and my father always taught me to look people in their eye when I talk, because the eyes are the window to your soul. If they look away from you, you know they're lying. If they look in your eye and talk to you and not try to fast talk you, they're telling the truth. And anybody can buy a new outfit for the night, daughter, but if they got the accessories to go with it, you know they what they talking about, like the shoes, watch, diamonds, whatever, haircut. So 9 different producers came. I gave everybody the wrong number. I didn't meet nobody. Didn't get no record deal. I lost contact with my ride because I went on stage and everything. There was a guy that had a crush on me, Ended up not seeing him for 20 years when I came back from New York. And I was walking across the Hampton Coliseum parking lot, and at the McDonald's on Mercury Boulevard in Virginia, Timbaland was in a Chevette. It was in a brown, beat up Chevette. And if you see a guy get out of a Chevette talking about he got it, he know Jodeci and Mary J. Blige, and he got a group called Sista, and they shelve right now, and they looking for a lead singer, a second lead, and telling me about Missy Elliott and everybody, you like, oh, you're lying. You know what I'm saying? But when Timbaland stepped out of that Chevette, he made that Chevette look like a damn limousine. He had them fresh Timbs on back in the day. The Colombian shoots was rock. You know, remember those? The green, black?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Timbs, and then you had, you know, diamonds on, your little 18 and everything, your fresh Caesar, dark Caesar haircut. Tim was on point. So he was like, hey, yo, you the girl. He said, I've been looking for you. Well, aren't you the girl that was on stage that sung before the concert? I was like, yeah. He was like, my name's Timbaland. You might not believe me, but I'm with my girl Mary J. Blige, and I fuck with Jodeci. And you the perfect image. I think you'll fit the group. We need a strong lead voice in the group. You know what I'm saying? Would you like to talk to one of the girls named Missy Elliott? And I was like, okay, whatever. So he called her up on his cell phone. He was like, hey, yo, Missy. She was like, yo, you never believe this. Yo, I found the girl. So Missy was like, put her on the phone. So when Missy got on the phone, she was like, hey, what's up? I was like, hi. It was like, so Tim tell me you can sing. I was like, yeah. She was like, well, sing me a song. This is just Missy. So I sung her Mary J. Blige. I can't remember when we had love. And she said, okay, Mary. She said, now sing me a gospel song. So I sung her the song by Tutu. Then she said, sing me a country song, and I sung her a country song. I sung Mariah Carey. I was hitting the high notes. I was doing riffs. She was like, all right, bring her to New York. So Tim, as we got the phone, Tim was like, hey, yo, how would you like to go to New York and meet Jodeci and Sista and everybody? I was like, well, I got 2 kids. I was the only person in the Bassment Cru that had kids. You know, I was in church, and then I got shunned for getting pregnant, and I was a youth adult choir director at age 15, and I got pregnant, and I couldn't, you know, be upfront because they said I was a bad influence on the girls in the church. Instead of embracing me, they pushed me away, and that was the one thing that kept me in church. But anyway, say all that to say, I found out the love of music. So I started singing, and that's when I got pushed into singing when I couldn't do it in church. I went to R&B. I was like, I'm going to hell. Might as well go to hell with gasoline draws on. So I went to R&B, and that's when I met Timbaland and everybody. And I promise you, I talked to Tim for a couple nights, 2 nights. And that weekend, I was in that Chevette with his mom, dad, and his little brother on my way to New York in my church suit, my heels and stuff. You know, New York was snowy and cold and very cold. They said you got to buy your coat from New York, not from where you live. But anyway, I went up there and I met Missy. They gave me a makeover that night when I got there. Sung them some songs. I met them and I vibed with them. And then the limo came to get us. Devontae called. I went to Devontae's house in Inglewood, New Jersey. And I was the first one walking in the door. He didn't recognize me. He thought I was one of the girls. So when Missy came in at the last one, he said, hey, yo, what a new girl. That was like, she was the first one. So he was like, hey, welcome to Sista. You know, he had a meeting with his brother in the conference room, and the album was like, can I tell her, D? He was like, yeah. And they was like, welcome to Sista. Yo, you fit. They gave me a makeup. They put the ponytail in my hair. Now, mind you, I didn't wear makeup, jewelry, nothing. They put the baggy pants, the baggy shirt, the chain, the loop earrings, put my hair in a ponytail. And I'm very hairy because I'm an Indian and I'm mixed. So I have real pretty curly hair. So they arched my eyebrows and fixed my sideburns and made me look like Sista. And I got the tattoo like a month later by the kid who designed it from Norfolk State University, you know, and he made our logo Sista, and that's what us 4 girls got on our leg. SISTA, Bonded for Life. But yeah, that's a little part of the story.
No doubt, not very interesting to hear too. Another interesting story that I've noticed is that you guys worked with Craig Mack, you know, from Bad Boy, like on a song called "It's Alright" for the Dangerous Minds soundtrack, which was like
awesome.
pretty much like a well-known movie back like in the '90s and all that. Like I actually saw it; it was like a very dope experience to see.
Piper. Yeah, that was awesome.
So tell me more about, you know, like working with Craig Mack. If I don't know if you guys like actually worked in the studio together, and how did you like react when he passed away?
Yeah, Craig Mack was cool, man. We got a win that we were going to work with him and collab with Bad Boy when Devontae and them came in. It was like, hey, yo, y'all got a opportunity to do a soundtrack with Coolio and Michelle Pfeiffer, and we're gonna put Craig Mack on the soundtrack with y'all on the track. So Sista went in the studio. First it was me and Missy, then the other girls came and we recorded. We met Craig, we vibed, we listened to the track, and then he just said, up the jizzle. You know how Craig Mack does, and he just did his thing, in 1-2 takes. Sister came in, Missy did her part. She was like, all right, we're gonna do it this way, and we laid the track down, we had fun, we vibed, we collabed, and it came out beautifully. And then after it was done, I think we were in Rochester. I don't know where we were at, but we were in New York somewhere, and we went to go see the movie Dangerous Minds. So when we sat down, we noticed that we were in the soundtrack 3 different times. Our song came on, it's alright, as you may have heard, to smoke a fat one and drink a Thunderbird. It's okay to play this loud. Mr. DJ don't mean what? And I ain't gonna sing loud because my voice was, but it was like, oh my God, we could play 3 times, and my voice was like dominant. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that. So we sat in the movie theater like all day watching the movie. But after he died, man, it was sad. I kind of, cried a little bit because, being in the music industry, I really can't talk to anybody because they don't believe me, or they think I'm exaggerating, or they can't fathom the lifestyle, because if you have never been in the music business, you don't know what the music business is like. And you cannot judge these people. You don't know the pressure and the demands that are on these people, especially when they got to do the interviews. They got to sing, they got to perform, they got to dance, and they're being judged. Like Chris Brown. Chris Brown is my man. Like, I think I've seen Chris when he was trying to become Chris back in the day, because we're from Virginia, so we always was Tappahannock. I used to sing in church and Rappahannock and Tappahannock and stuff. And it's just like, when you're coming up in the music business, like Destiny's Child, I saw them breaking apart. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what I went through with Sista and stuff. And I remember they were on the radio station in Virginia, and Beyonce and it was up there. And I was just like, dang, I actually called the radio station. I was like, man, y'all got a beautiful group. Don't let people, get to you. Stay together. What you went through, and what you the blood, sweat, and tears, everything you went through to become, your Destiny's Child first. Y'all went through a lot. Like, because Sista and I went through a lot. Aaliyah was my inspiration when I got to the music industry, because she was such a beautiful soul. And she told me, the last thing she told me before she died was, LeSean, promise me you'll never give up. And my book is actually going to be like in memory of Aaliyah and dedicated to Sista. But Aaliyah was my girl. I'll never forget when she had a birthday party down here in Chesapeake, Virginia with Missy Elliott and stuff. And she was like, LeSean, comb my hair, it's poofy. So we land in the bed, we get back from the birthday party because we're exhausted. We don't want to be around people anymore. Back in the day, you call them groupies, and they would just in your face. But we laid down on the bed, and we took our shoes off. We had black quarter boots on. She's like, all right, let's take our shoes off, and you brush my hair and sing me a song. So when we took our boots off, we both had ankle white socks on. She's like, oh my God, LeSean, we got like the same boots and the socks. She's like, girl, sing me a song. I'm ready to go sleep. So I was singing her song, Faith. I said, pretty little baby, you have given me good time, and all I want to do is make it better. And I can never tell you that I didn't love you now. That no other love can compare to you. And I'm hoarse right now. I can't really get it. But she stood up. She said, oh, my God, LeSean, you can sing. Why didn't Missy ever give you a record deal? I don't understand. When she said that, Missy came through the doors. And she asked Missy, and Missy looked crazy. But, it's just deep rooted with the breakup of Sista and the way Missy got her record deal. And, there's a lot of stuff that went on that was deceitful. But Craig Mack was a great guy to work with. I know I talk a lot and I jump from scene to scene, but it's so much to say you can't really fit into one interview.
No, I know what you mean. It's a very interesting thing as well, and I think you deal and devil on certain things too, and like I kind of understand the process because being from someone who was in the music industry versus someone who's kind of like an outsider who who might not see it like in various lenses, like it's a different kind of like ballpark from there too. And
Oh
you know,
yeah.
just years ago, I read Timbaland's autobiography, the Emperor of Sound. I don't know if you read that book by any chance.
I didn't. I didn't because I'm gonna stop you right there. You know, I did a lot of interviews for VH1 and BET and XXL magazine, and I'm on Netflix right now, the Hip Hop Evolution season 4. That's a funny story as well. I've done a lot of interviews over the years because I didn't realize, you know, back in the day, if we would have had internet, sister would have been on and popping. You understand what I'm saying? Uh, Everybody would have known what we did and who we were and how much we did. We performed with Bone Thugs, Soul for Real. We did Apollo with Jodeci. We were in almost every Jodeci's video. You just don't know. We're the girls in the background. But we go on stage with them. We're the 4 girls with our back turned, with our vest, our black vest and black logo system with the afro and the chain. We had a gold sister and diamond chain. You know, people just didn't know that we were who we were. You understand what I'm saying? But we were in a lot of videos. We was in Let's Go Through the Motions. Before I joined Sista, when they were looking for 11th girl, because they went to 11th girl, they were looking for their lead. Sista was on the shelf when I met them. Now I say, and that's why I get mad too when Missy and Tim and everybody do their interviews and Stevie J. It's like it's just not their story in the Bassment Cru. And Aaliyah was not in the Bassment Cru. Aaliyah came along after the Bassment Cru broke up, and Missy Timbaland and everybody sold everybody else's music and put it on Aaliyah's album. You know, just like she was shiesty when Aaliyah was like, "Hey, yo, Missy, tell sister to put on black so she can be in the video. Let's go. If your girl only knew." Missy had, you know, signed 702, and we didn't even know it, but that's how she came out and told us that she was working with 702. She told us to wear brown. So when we get to the video shoot, Aaliyah says, "Hey, Lashawn, why don't y'all have on black? I told Missy to tell y'all to put on black." And we're like, well, Missy told us to put on brown. You know what I'm saying? And 702 is over the phone. Like, who are these little girls? There's 3 little light-skinned girls and 1 dark-skinned girl. And they got on leather and they getting ready to go to doing makeup and shit. And we was like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? And so the video, if your girl only knew that I was the one you was talking to. We on the sideline like, what the fuck is these bitches? I'm sorry, my language, excuse my language. But we're like, what's going on? So that's when Missy came out. She wanted us to come and rub it in our face that she took her solo deal at Sony or what is it, Electra Records with what's that lady name? I forgot the lady name. It was the head of the Electra Records at the time, but we had made a pact. You know, Sister said that after we broke up, the Bassment Cru broke up, all that stuff with Interscope and Suge Knight and everybody in California and stuff and Interscope. We had that conference, that meeting that everybody talked about, want to know about. Everybody split up and went away, but Missy left us like that, and he made a pact. It was like, if they don't want, like Puffy wanted to sign us, but he wanted half of everything. But everything was already done. You know, we was about to go on tour. We was just coming off a promotional tour. We did the Apollo. We opened up for Jodeci when they recorded Feeding Video. You know, we were in the audience. We just performed with Soul for Real, Genuine, Timbaland, Mizzou, everybody. We were the opening act. And, you know, it was crazy. That night, I had to perform the whole song because Missy never wanted to practice. She was like, I know the dance steps, I can dance, but I'm like, I'm an entertainer. You are a studio artist. You like the you know, the microphone closed in a booth artist. You can't really perform. I've been performing my whole life. You got to learn how to do the dance steps and sing at the same time. So she never would dance with us because she felt like she already knew the dance steps. So we got on, we did the Apollo. And she tapped me when she started, you know, trying to sing when she was dancing. And she was like, LaShawn, hey, yo, LaShawn, take over. I can't do it. So I'm sitting there doing the whole song at the Apollo. You know what I'm saying? So when we got off stage, and I rocked that shit too. And like I tried to tell Devontae and them, I was like, I'm a performer. I'm an artist. I'm not no studio artist. Like, I don't go in the studio and be like, all right, cut, go back, paste it, re-record it, all right, double that up. No, I'm used to doing it in one take because we're live, you know, taking we're on stage. That's what I learned from my mother in the church, my Williamsburg roots, you know. So anyway, so funny.
So in a previous interview that you did, you mentioned that you were responsible as the lead on as the lead on stage for the group and as the leading act. In that sense,
Correct.
did you feel that you had like a bigger role with all these responsibilities for the group, or Were there
I
some
did.
stuff divided for the other like members as well?
I did because I really was the one who came on last, and Missy was very shy. She didn't like to speak up, and I've always had a outspoken voice or whatever. So I did the talking when we did interviews on the radio. The radio drops when we performed, and I felt pressure on me because I was a new girl trying to learn everything, and not knowing anybody, and the music business was new to me. So I felt like a lot of pressure was there. I did.
Yeah. Nah, no doubt. I know what you mean. Like because I was speaking more about the book earlier on too. This one part in the book stated that Devante wanted to produce the entirety of the group's music along with I'll Be Sure. And so like one person in the group only insisted on using Timbo's beats. During that time, was everyone else in the group open to working with other producers, or did the group
Well, see,
only insist on
well, see,
working with?
I came along a year after they got their record deal with Jodeci. Missy and Timbaland grew up together in the same area. They were always together doing beats and recording. So Missy wanted Timbaland to produce the album, and Devontae wanted to because that was he gave us a record deal. He had a vision. He wanted to produce the album. Yes, Albie Shore was a part of it as well, but I wasn't there when that first started. I came in a year later, and Timbaland was almost the main, beat maker on our album, producer. But Devontae had a lot of more say so than he did. He had to get it approved.
Sure. All right, I know what you mean. Like for all the sisters around the world, it was recently released on like all streaming platforms. Like I think a couple years ago. But before you couldn't really get access to the project because it was like an unreleased project, even though like it was like very like well done in that sense. But to speak more on that, what was that inspiration behind like that group name like Sista, like something that has like some like unique force to it, and even for the unreleased debut album as well, was it more as an album for women empowerment, or was it like something like very different?
Devontae actually gave us that name. Their name was Fazy when they first got their record deal. Fazy. Then Devontae was like Sista, and because he was like you have four different women. You all have a story and you all have talent. So it was empowerment, but it was also awareness of the sisterhood, the sister relationships. You know what I'm saying? How us as Black queens, we don't really know our worth, but this album is gonna be for all the sisters around the world. Everybody, Black, white, Spanish, everybody's gonna be able to relate. Sisters, like I have two sisters. I have an older sister and a younger, so I can't went from my sisters to a house full of their sisters, so it's just like for everybody, a little music for everybody to enjoy.
No doubt, no doubt. Um, like in the book, it also mentioned that Devante couldn't sell the group to like another label after the Swing Mob Electra deal. Just to clarify, in your own perspective, were there any other reasons from the debut album being shelved that prevented the group from pursuing to sign with like different labels at the time, or was it just kind of like a different like factor in
In
that
the
sense?
contract, we didn't know at the time, but in the contract, it was saying that if the deal was to fall apart, that we couldn't sign with anybody else as sister, but we could do it as individuals. So when Cheryl Carnesburg took me to Def Jam to meet Busta Rhymes and Salt and Pepper's management team to get a solo deal, I turned it down because we made a pact that sister wasn't going to do solo. They didn't want all of us that we wasn't going to do solo deals. But Missy took hers, but she took hers because she wasn't signed as sister. She was signed as Missy Elliott.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I know like it's kind of like very interesting too. You said that like Timbaland was the first person to like to find you. After the like Hampton show as well, and you explained like pretty much a lot, like with meeting Timbaland, getting to work with him like in that sense too. But like even like working with him in that sense, like studio wise, like what was that like musical relationship that like you guys had with like Timbaland, like even like musical and like non-musical, like in that sense?
Timberland lived with us in our living room. He had his equipment set up in the living room. He did beats and music all day, all night. So he would get an idea and he would like, "Hey, Missy, LaShawn, right there, Johnny, come here." And so we would sit around the thing and create music. Timon was very serious and into his music. It it's like a vibe when you're in the studio with him. It's just like he come up with different things and make it sound really hot on the bass lines and hi hat, heavy hi hats, and samples. Back in the day, we did a lot of sampling, but Tim was a genius as well too. Him and Devontae had a good relationship in the beginning. It's like they both respected each other. And they both had the same inspiration and sound that they wanted to get out to everybody. Tim was a genius as well, just like Devontae. It was a good relationship.
No doubt, no doubt. And like after like the whole sister thing, you went on to pursue your musical experiences in a variety of areas, like like in New Jersey at the time, like when you guys were sister, like as well as like New York, Maryland, and much more. And tell me more about like like living like in those like area, like living in. Tell me more about the living and working experiences in those areas, and would you say that was like very different, like as opposed to like Williamsburg in that sense too, and
Oh,
just
very
like
different.
finding new ventures?
Very, very, very different. New York, we recorded in Manhattan at the Hit Factory, Studio 52, I want to say, and then in Rochester at the Deja Lawn. Then we went to Maryland at the Landover studio in Landover. That's when H Town was with us. We started, hanging and singing with H Town. Like Devontae always had a lot of different musicians around us, so we play out with a lot of people and stuff. But it's very different. New York was very like we stayed in the studio all night long. We didn't come out till daylight. We went in around maybe 3, 4 o'clock, and we didn't come out till 10 o'clock the next day. All we did was music, 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 record. So it was a very grueling process. And then we traveled a lot. We went to California, Maryland, everywhere to do music, and every place was different. Like Rochester was snowy and cold, and he rented out a whole apartment building for everybody. And Sister and Sugar, we housed together, and we went to Dave Salon Studios, and we recorded there. And David Shoemaker, I want to say, and Tony Simmons, they were all, and Sean Parker, they were all in Dave Salon and stuff. But we recorded there, and that's we did a lot of music with ourselves, the Bassment Cru, our creation, and then we went to Landover, Maryland, and did some things, with different artists and stuff. So it was really cool.
Yeah, no doubt. No, it seemed like a very like interesting experience, and like even like after the group, like you had like that time to pursue music in certain senses, just whether it's like being in a studio or performing live at like a bar or like at a church. Must have been like
Well,
pretty like.
after when Sister first broke up, Miss used to call me, and I used to go to New York and do little things with her with Lil Kim, but it was on a different vibe. It wasn't really on the we're gonna do music together. She would call me every time she signed somebody to a record deal. So I didn't do music for years. I just that's when Casey and I was deep in our relationship, and I got pregnant with Devin, and he didn't want me to be in the music industry anymore. So it was like, stay at home, take care of our son. I'm gonna take care of the family. You've been in there. All the stuff that went on with Sister and Jodeci and everything. We had a relationship bonded. You know what I'm saying? And it's a deep history there. So he was performing at Casey and JoJo. So he would always fly me out to where he was performing at. With his son. So he could see him because he was on the road. So I was constantly on the road, and I wasn't really singing anymore. When I did sing, it was just at karaoke's when I sang Shania Twain, and sing country and contemporary and pop, and then just mess people's head up. But it was just for fun because I didn't want to do it as a job anymore. I didn't want to. I wanted to do it because I loved it. So when I sang because I wanted to, not really because Oh, and I did a wedding. My childhood friend, friend from childhood. I promised her I was singing her wedding when she grew up, and she got married and she called me. So that's the only thing I really did as far as in front of people because I didn't want to do it. When I went to the studio, I helped people around the community. I worked in a studio called The Lab Recordings with DJ Silk, Nas's old DJ. I had an office in there, and when people got stuck on their choruses, they would call me in there, and I had a price list. But I mentored people who wanted to be in the music, and they thought they went to the studio, recorded one song, they was going to record deal. No, it's not like that. It's time consuming, but I really didn't want to do music. I just wanted to live a regular life.
Yeah, no, I truly understand, and like that's kind of like how most people, like even like people like right now who are like famous, and even people before who have had experience the fame, that's all that they wanted. Some to live a normal life, to have the
But
privacy needed, to
Not just
relax.
people always jumping to conclusions and taking pictures, and it looks like worse than what it is, and defending yourself. The people coming up, you're tired, you get off the plane, you got to sign autographs and be happy and chipper, and yes, and oh, welcome to, it's just so crazy. It was just very, very drooling, and I'm not the type of person that need that to define who I am. You know what I'm saying? God didn't have that plan for me, so I just had to come on home, take care of my family. I had a fairy tale life. I had a good life. I experienced the music business. God showed me how the talent to do it, but it really wasn't for me, and I didn't want it. After we broke apart, it was like, I committed a lot of time, blood, sweat, and tears in this. I got shitted on in a lot of ways. A lot of devious things went on, and a lot of devilish things, and I think I'm just going to stay at home. I think I'm good. Yeah, so.
Yeah,
But
no
my
doubt,
kids,
no doubt.
all my
Yeah,
kids do music now, so I just passed it on.
yeah. No doubt. I truly understand too. Like nowadays too, like the most things that have been like rampant right now in various industries are like the Times Up movement and like the Me Too movement that had happened, and
Mm-hmm.
like people nowadays are taking a stand from what they've experienced in that sense too, like back then or even now, or even like in the middle, like in that sense too, and like accountability has been taken. People's voices are being like amplified and like uplifted in that sense too, and just to get your thoughts on it, like with the Me Too and the Times Up movements, on these like industries, like what are your thoughts on those movements? And I don't know if you've experienced something similar to that like before during your music experience, or if you might have seen something like that before.
Yeah, like all this stuff has been going on for years, and I really don't try to get into that. I don't even pay attention to it. Like I support every positive movement, Me Too, and all that, but I just don't really give it any thought. It's like I don't get involved, and it's because I have my own life, my own things that I've been through, and I just have too much of my family and my grandbabies and what I've been through with my husband, the suicide and stuff, that I don't get involved. I don't let stuff stress me out. I just pray, get up every day, go to work, and try to take care of my family, and be happy. I don't have views on it because I'm for all positive things, but I just don't. I really don't pay attention to it. I don't know why. I hope I'm not a bad person for that, but I support all women and Me Too and all that. But I just don't. I don't think about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you can understand.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like it's pretty straightforward. Some people they might have not heard about it before. Some people have heard about it, but it might have not affected them in that sense
Yeah.
too. And like people would tend to focus on their lives more than anything else. So I could
Right.
definitely understand like from your perspective too. To speak more on the R&B the R&B scene like today and all that.
Hmm.
A lot of like new acts and a lot of like new faces have changed since the 90s too, and
Yeah.
I just want to get like your thoughts on today's R&B scene so far. Do you feel like that
Yeah.
these R&B artists like right now are doing their best to keep the genre alive and make it memorable, or do you feel that there's like issues right now with the R&B scene?
The R&B scene has been changed in the 2000s, just like the 90s changed that era. The 2000s has changed this current era. We're now known as old school, although we changed the game with hip hop because we took R&B voices and put it over hip hop beats, rap beats, and that became hip hop. It's like they got their own thing now. They got their own record companies. They don't need no record labels to tell them what they can and cannot do. There's a lot of uncensored. You can say basically whatever you want to say on the radio. Back in the day, they were called video vixens. We're called, video vixens, the girl, the lead girl in the videos. You want to be seen with them. You want to be caught with them in the daylight because you got wives and girlfriends and stuff. But now the video vixens are the wives. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the strippers got record deals. The strippers are, are the ones who are on top now. And, it's just crazy. The whole thing has changed. All music sound the same. Only people that I really listen to is Beyonce because she can really sing and I love her voice. Uh, Chris Brown. Trey Songz, I listened to one song with him. That's the one he collabed with Chris Brown. And I listen to Jay Z, still Biggie, and the old this is the whole '90s, but the 2000s, Lil Wayne, Nicki, Drake, I love them. But it's like I can't get with a lot of rappers because I don't live that life. You know what I'm saying? I've never, sold drugs and been on the streets and, and got the cars with the rims, and I never lived that life, so I can't really get with that. But you give me some old Babyface or R. Kelly, sorry to say that he got caught up in trouble, or anything from the 90s, Jodeci, Sister, Prince, Scandalous, Purple Rain, you know, Darling Nikki, give me some of that. I can vibe with it, but today's music, you don't even have to have talent, man. It was like it's just you got some money to push your stuff because it's all about advertising. So you got some money and people behind you to push you and advertise. It's not what you know how to do. It's who you know. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really listen to the radio. I listen to my mix on YouTube. That's what I do. Damien, my son, Chris Brown all the time, all Chris albums. Rihanna, Beyonce, Shania Twain. That is my favorite country singer. I love her. I love that. I love all genres, but the music these days they got their own genre. I can't get with it though. I really can't.
Yeah. True. All right. Yeah. No doubt. So earlier you said you talked about Casey and JoJo being the father of your three sons. And you already explained
Well,
like the
Casey is the
relationship
father
like.
of one of my. Casey is the father of one of my sons. His name is Devin Shellman, Devin Cedric Bernard Shellman. That is Devin. That is Casey and our son. He's 22.
All right. And you discussed on like how you met like Casey like before in that sense too, just like in the Basement Crew and all that. So just to speak more on that, what was like the relationship like before and after your child was born, and were there some things that the media didn't present at the time in regards to all of the individual like members like at the time?
Yeah, Casey actually, I met him 2 months after meeting everybody else in, the Basement Crew. Him and JoJo was away in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we met. We were actually on the video shoot of Let's Go Through the Motions, and we were in the green room, and they were singing this gospel song, Dr. Jesus, and that's how we met, and I started singing with him and JoJo. So we connected. He chased me for about a year, and I was like, I tried to avoid him because I didn't want no conflict. Mary J. Blige was my idol. They were dating at the time. But he pursued me. It was like he was always around me, always trying to, sending me limos, flowers, picking me up, take me on dates. So we finally started dating and talking, and we were inseparable. If you saw Casey, you saw Lashawn, and that's when the Mary J. Blige situation came about, and she wrote that song. She said, "It's your child," and it really messed me up. I think she was talking about my child, but it's a lot of things was kind of different. But before I got pregnant, me and Casey was always together. We were in love. We is like, I was like, why do you want me? I'm just a country girl from Williamsburg. You got Mary J. Blige. And he's like, maybe that's why. And he's like, you're the first girl who told me no. And we just had a bond. You know what I'm saying? We were both from the country, Virginia and Charlotte, North Carolina. We both was raised in the gospel. Our souls clicked, and we always had a good time. And he had this big, pretty, bright smile and these big eyes, and he just sang, and I was always singing with him, and we just fell in love. And I got pregnant. He told me I was going to have his baby, and he was going to marry me, but I got pregnant with Devin. He came to Norfolk when he did a show. Him, Casey and JoJo show at the Norfolk, I forgot, Boathouse, something like that. But anyway, I came up there and I got pregnant. And after I had Devin was 5 months when he got on his first plane. I was always traveling, going to see K because he was doing Casey and JoJo, like the BET, Stevie Wonder Walk of Fame. I was there. That's when Devin met Jamie Foxx and Music Soul Child and India. Their trailer was right beside Casey and JoJo's. We just did a lot of things. Me and Devin traveled, and Casey and I's relationship got strained because he was always on the go. It wasn't just me and him anymore. It was me, him, and the baby, and you know how that thing goes, life. And I wasn't young anymore. I just been through him with a lot of women and a lot of things, and I got hurt through the process, and I just was ready to leave all the music memories and attachments alone. So we broke up. And we moved on with our life. He got married, and I got married, and life went on. Sista at the time, we were known as just the pretty faces of the group, and I get mad sometimes because it's so many stories of the Bassment Crew. It's not just Missy Timms and Stevie J's. It's Missy Timms, Stevie J's, who also came out of groups. Missy was in Sista. Tim was the producer of Sista. He was the rated producer who was trying to get like a record deal almost. He was right there with us. It was it's Sugar. That's three girls in there. That's three stories. Player. That's three people in that group. Steve, Black, and Jawan. That's their stories. Then you got Genuine. Then you got Reebok. Then you got Pete Repeat and all these other good groups. You got a lot of people that's the Basement Crew. That's the story. You can't just take that of three people and base your judgment on what people did in the Basement Crew because everybody played a part. Sista wasn't just pretty faces. Missy wasn't just a talent. Missy wrote songs, but she couldn't perform them. She couldn't talk in front of crowds. She couldn't speak properly in the interviews. I had to do all that. Shawnita was the choreographer of the group. Radia was the high note, the melodic, harmonizing songbird of the group. I was the strong, tomboyish, Jodeci, in your face, performing, here, take that type of girl. Missy was the one who was like, we all know she is, LGBT, whatever. But we didn't really know that back in the day, but she had her way of doing things. And it was just a connection of us four. And it wasn't just Missy. It was Missy, LaShawn, Shawnita, and Radia. Missy and Shawnita started the group. Then it was Missy, Shawnita, and Radia. Then LaShawn came in last. I was put with them. So I hate when they say we were just pretty faces and we had no talent. We didn't do anything. I wrote the Fill of Your Lips. I actually wrote the Fill of Your Lips, the duet with Mary J. Blige, that I didn't even know was going to become a duet with Mary J. Blige. I wrote the Fill of Your Lips because Devontae had a contest. He was like, "Sister, why are y'all not writing songs?" He was like, because Macy said you wanted her to write only. He was like, "No, everybody write a song and I'm going to pick the best song out of everybody." So I won. So the Fill of Your Lips was actually written about KC. Missy goes to the studio with Mary J. Blige, get her to sing on the song that I wrote about her man, makes me look like a bad person, and now me and Mary has a duet together on the first verse of the song that I wrote about Casey because I was in love with him. Then Missy comes in, and then Casey and Mary J. Blige end the song out. You understand what I'm saying? So it was like I got no credit for that song. I got no Missy, Mary J. Blige, and everybody got more points off that song that I wrote than I did. So it was just a lot of things, man. I didn't get no recognition. Nobody got recognition for what they did. Shawnee did all our dance steps. Everything you see on the video, Shawnee choreographed that. Radia was the melodic person. She put the high notes on the song. She did a lot of things harmonizing. So it's just like we didn't get no recognition. Like we got, like we were shunned. Like, and when we did the interview for VH1 and BET, some of the things we said they blocked out, and they just kept what Missy wanted to put in there. Because it was her story. But we didn't get the recognition that we should have because we all were talented. If it wasn't for the other, it wouldn't have been Sista. It wouldn't have been a unity, UNITY, like Queen Latifah said.
Yeah, I actually understand, and it was actually like very crazy on like how a lot of stuff does get blocked out and does get censored, to appeal for bigger artists in that sense too. And I feel like that is like truly the problem, with people who actually do create music and having bigger people having like a role on it and them just taking the credit rather than the originators in that sense too. So like it shows like how like grimy and greedy like this game is in that sense too. And this
Absolutely.
is like even like and this is like even with this one question that I've had, like even like still talking about the music industry like till this day too. Do you think that the game is not played fair in a sense?
It never has been.
Now, huh?
It never has been.
Yeah.
Ever since the first song came out for hip hop, it was stolen from a childhood friend. To the hip hop, the hip to the hip hop, and you don't stop. The whole world knew that song. Well, if you look at Hip Hop Evolution, you'll see the story about that song, how it was jacked. The first song ever that was recorded and the whole world heard was stolen. So it has a history. It started off that way. So, of course, it's going to end that way. And now that it's in almost like 2000s, it's 2021. So what hip hop came out in 1970 something, what I'm saying, early 70s, right? Like
yeah.
So it has.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh no, I was just saying that like like with hip hop, like the origins like really started off like in Jamaica too, like in Jamaican dance hall, and then it was brought like in the South Bronx, like
Shabba
around
Ranks.
the 19th. Yeah.
Shabba Ranks, Lady Saw. It was under the sycamore tree. That was my favorite reggae artist. But do you remember Reggae Sundays where they had reggae night at the clubs? That's when dance hall had mixed in with hip hop. That's when Shaggy and everybody came in the hip hop scene. You know, dance hall. Oh my gosh. You know, that's why I say today's music is not music. The young people just don't know what they're missing out on. And they'll be like, oh, that's my song right there. I'm like, oh, that's an old Biggie track. Or that's an old, God track. You know, that's an old New Edition track. You know, they don't hear the samples that's in the track that they got their music on in the 2000s because they don't know their history of music. You know, they haven't researched hip hop. You know, if you really, Hip Hop Evolution on Netflix is really, really good for everyone to see, to learn about the music game.
Yeah, no doubt. And it just like kind of proves like how like even before now it's still the same thing because like with it's more grimier and more like nasty like in that sense too, with smaller
Yeah.
artists like not getting like the recognition with record labels, adding like various clauses that kind of like sign your rights away with publishing, with
Oh, yeah.
music, with funding, with everything like that too. And it's been evident for a while.
Yep, because first of all, a lot of people going in just want a record deal. They don't go in knowing that they need a lawyer to sit there and get that contract for the small print because they might say, well, you got a contract and we're going to give you $100,000, but you got to give us 5 years of albums or 5 albums. That's a lot, and if you're not really fine for you, just excited to get that record deal, you're going to sign it. And then they're going to get that. What people don't know is that you get that when you get that advance or that signing bonus, that's all the money you're gonna get because the next year you gotta pay back the studio time, the hotel, all the trips you went to home. But you gotta pay that back in the first year. You gotta pay the record company back for the studio times and stuff. People don't know that. They're not seeing no more money after they get that little $100,000. They done bought a whole chain that costs a whole lot of money. What, $50,000? That's half of what they got. Then they buying their mama houses and stuff, their mother's townhomes, and trying to live off of ghetto dreams and they don't realize that's all the money they're gonna get, and they go broke. So if they become a one hit wonder, they're broke because the touring is where you make your money at.
Yeah, no doubt, no
People
doubt.
know that. Yeah.
All right.
Um,
I know that like this would be like the last question. But I know that you said that you were gonna work on your book soon, and I don't know if you want to talk more about that. Like, just to end it off.
I've been talking about my book for years, and I didn't want to do it in the beginning because I didn't want people to think that I was trying to bash nobody. But it's my life, and 20 years later, over 20 was 25 years actually. I didn't listen to our album until 20 years after, and I heard my name in a song that Missy wrote called "Sweat You Down," and it explained why she hated me so much. And at the end, she liked me a lot in the beginning, but then she hated me. That's how Sister broke. We kind of went through like it was a bad breakup. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people went their separate ways, that song "Sweat You Down" explained everything with my name in that second verse. Missy was in love with me. So when I didn't, because I'm not gay or lesbian or whatever, I didn't like see the signs. But now I understand it clicked. And my book actually is just going to explain when she told me, she was like, I want to make sure nobody know who you are. My name about to be a household name and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, I like you. You're talented. We've been through so much together. But, and then when she went on interviews, they just ignored us. Like, we were just pretty faces. I was like, I was quiet for 25 years. And everybody's interested in the Bassment Cru story. It's just time for me to write my story from beginning to end so I can finally just get my voice heard. You know what I'm saying? And at first I didn't do it because my husband burnt up 10 years of composition books, my memories, but another story. And I was not inspired anymore. But now I'll be reading everything that I've read over the years, and I see what I see and I know what I know. And people keep asking me questions and want to interview. I'm just going to tell my story because, like I said, it's more than just Missy's, Timbaland's, and Stevie's story. It's everybody's story, and that makes up the Bassment Cru. And that's the only way you guys are going to know what really went on with the Bassment Cru is when you talk to each of us individually, how they became a part of the Bassment Cru, because we didn't come up there as a group. We came up there separated. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of things went on to become the Bassment Cru, and Devontae picked and he chose, and he saw voices, put together voices, and that's how he became the Bassment Cru.
No doubt, no doubt. Just to end it off, do you have any like final words that you would like to say for any creative or any person like pursuing their dreams?
Yes, reach for the stars. You can do it. If you really want it, think positive, speak it into existence. Everybody needs to go for their dream. It's a beautiful experience. Just don't get sidetracked. For the Bassment Crew, I love you guys always. Hope everybody's doing good. And I will never lose no love for anybody. You know, it is what it is. We are adults now. We all should be able to come together and at least talk.